Yay. Hi, YouTube. Thank you so much for coming to my next live stream. I'm really, really excited to be here, and I hope everyone is doing super well today. Today, it's like minus 1,000 degrees outside. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but I was lucky enough to be able to work from home, and I'm not looking forward to having to venture outside my house tomorrow to get on the bus and get to work when it's like minus 35 or something. So, not looking forward to that at all. Rich says, hello, Heather. Hi, Rich. Thanks for joining. Mark says, hey, people. Hey, Mark. Thanks for joining again. Lift Panic. Hi, Heather. Hi, Lift Panic. Thank you for coming. I really, really appreciate it. So in the last video, I was really excited to do an old Amway video from 1983. And if you were there, you would know that the sound just did not work. And it was really upsetting. And we tried for a while and I could not get the sound to work. And then afterwards, my husband and I did like a test stream where I just made it unlisted, sent him the link, and then he said it worked. So the idea tonight will be to do that video. And I think I'm going to play it for like 30 seconds and then I'll stop. And I see 3 people are in here. So if one of you guys can let me know if you can hear it or not, I would really, really appreciate that. And then assuming we can hear it, we'll continue. If we can't, then there's like a deeper issue, something deeper wrong with the computer or the audio or something. And I'll have to figure that out later, but it should be good, I think. So yeah, that's okay. I would love it if you guys could help me with that. Sorry, I am having issues sharing my screen, of course. Love the technical difficulties. So just 1 second. Okay. So I double checked this 2 seconds ago before I clicked live. Volume's up. So yeah, I'll just play it for 30 seconds and I'll pause and see if my friends can hear it. And I hope we can because it's a really good video and I think you guys would like it.
Soap and hope is the story of Amway. Amway, short for the American way, is nothing less than a national phenomenon. It got its start as a shop-at-home company dealing mostly in soap and soap products, and has now become a $1.5 billion a year enterprise. But there is more to Amway.
Liv Panic says they can hear it. Oh, I'm really excited. I'm really happy we can listen to this video now. And Mark says it's fine. Rich says sound is good. Yay! Okay, let me know if anything falls out, like if you guys magically can't hear it, and we'll figure it out. But I'm really happy about this.
And soap. What they're really selling is hope. The hope of getting rich beyond your wildest dreams. Others insist, however, that Amway is just a clever marketing scheme to enrich a few lucky people. Whatever it is, it has gotten 1 million people to selling soap, and it begins with some old-fashioned motivation.
Some of you, right here this weekend, you're going to leave this weekend, and for the first time in your life, you're going to say and realize, I've got wings, I can fly, I am a winner, I'm going to do it because I have freedom in America.
This is the world of Amway, a world where...
So there's a few things there. So first, Amway sells hope and not soap. And that's a really good point that still rings true today. MLMs sell the ideal life to people who may be a little bit vulnerable, who may be wanting to change something financially or their job, or they're unhappy with their home, or something is missing in their lives and they're seeking some kind of change or like some hope. So that still rings true today. And he's saying some people think it's just a marketing ploy to benefit the few people at the very, very top of the pyramid. Right. And so that we know that's true to this day. And we just saw probably a high up Amway distributor from 1983 saying some creepy things, saying it in a creepy tone. And if I was at a business meeting and someone was talking to me like that, I'd be a little bit worried, a little bit creeped out. And then everyone started to cheer and clap. And we've looked at Amway events before from around this time period in like the early 2000s, but 1983, remember? And look at all these people. Look at all those people. That's a lot of people. So Lilac Llama says, hey, I'm excited to see this. Hi, Lilac Llama. It's great to see you. I love llamas, so I love your username. So yeah, that's a lot already. And let me know what you guys think about the rest of the video.
For a business meeting is not just a business meeting, but a celebration.
You're witnessing a dream come true. A dream come true.
What are all these people so worked up about? What's going on here that causes 10,000 Amway distributors to behave like teenagers at a rock concert? The people on stage at this rally are Amway distributors who've made it to the top. The ones who've gotten rich climbing the Amway ladder of success. But their main purpose here is to tell these thousands of hopeful Amway distributors in the audience that they can earn six-figure incomes too.
So Hall says lots of feathered bangs in that audience. Yeah, 1983. So they look a little different than they would now. That's funny. I'm going to be very disappointed in Mike Wallace if he doesn't turn out to be at least somewhat of an expose. Yeah, you'll see. You'll see. It's a pretty cool video. So he was saying what happens at this business meeting that is turning it into a celebration, and why are 10,000 people, 10,000 grown-ups acting like they're children at a rock concert? I'm paraphrasing. It's so interesting that Mike Wallace at this time knew why these MLM conferences take place. It's really to showcase the very few people at the top of these companies who find massive financial success, and to make it seem like this man here, your average Amway distributor, will be able to achieve that level of success too. And we know from countless videos across YouTube that it is not possible for your average person to achieve Dexter Yeager level of success entering Amway now. But they try to make it seem very attainable, while at the same time treating people like Dexter Yeager or whoever is at the top of whatever MLM company, it's all the same, as some godlike celebrity figure. And it's really interesting, like the juxtaposition between making it seem attainable and then making the top distributors seem like they're this like otherworldly being and they're a celebrity and a god. I hope that makes sense. Mark says lots of money made. Oh yeah. I wonder how much each of these tickets costed at this time, while remembering like 1983 prices, right? Okay, seeing the spots of people not wearing white is refreshing, but I wonder if they felt awkward or ashamed. Also, clothes aren't the only thing that is white there. Oh yeah, good point. A lot of these MLMs don't have a lot of diversity, and the people at the very tops of these MLMs seem to be heterosexual, yeah, because there's a lot of assuming heterosexual identities in MLMs. I feel like especially Beachbody and like Pure Romance, but they're also white. They're also the racial majority. That's a good point. And I also didn't explain my point very well. Mark, while I remember, I meant to ask you this in the last stream. Do you know of any other Amway training companies that are still active today other than the worldwide group, the one that we looked at in the last stream? If you know of any, I would love to hear it. No worries if you don't, though.
Does it work? Amway manufactures hundreds of products, mainly items like soap and floor cleaners, vitamins, cosmetics. Amway distributors buy these products from the Amway Corporation and then sell them mostly out of their homes at a profit. But selling the soap is not how the real money is made in Amway. The real money an Amway distributor can make comes from recruiting other distributors to sell Amway products too. In return, that first distributor gets from Amway a percentage of the business generated by his or her recruits. And when his recruits sponsor recruits of their own, he gets a percentage of their business too. And if he can motivate enough of his recruits to go out and recruit more recruits, each sharing a percentage of their business with him, that's how he gets rich.
I like that. That's funny. Lilac Lemon says, sorry, I'm working as I listen and type. My typos are aplenty. No worries. Don't worry. And I love how he's saying the real money is not in selling. It's in recruiting people who also recruit people who also recruit people, as you can tell here. And say this would be like Dexter Yeager at the time. And then his then his network would just continue growing out and out and out. And we know in the Amway context, like Dexter Yeager and Bill Britt would have made the majority of their money selling motivational tools through the company that we talked about last stream. But in like a normal MLM, the people at the top make their money from their massive downlines purchasing products, selling minimal amounts of products, but mostly recruiting huge amounts of people. So Mark said, Britt and Yeager, Network 21. I think there are a few more. Oh, Network 21. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll look into that. Everyone should earn money, right? Everyone should be compensated for their time because everyone's time is worth at least the minimum wage in the state or province or country, whatever, in which they live. But in MLMs, they make it seem like it's a good thing you're not paid for your time and it's a good thing you're only paid for your results. But you have to have results in MLM in order to get paid, and they do not truthfully represent the opportunity and what you would actually have to do to get any amount of money. And we're going to hear about that later.
Rich, Amway talks of luxury cars, of lavish homes. The Amway elite can use the company's fleet of jet planes, go on trips aboard one of Amway's super yachts, trips to Amway's own Caribbean island. All of this for those who succeed in Amway. This is the center of free enterprise, Amway's world headquarters in Ada, Michigan. It is a kind of shrine to the capitalist system and a monument to the two men who founded Amway 23 years ago, Jay Van Andel and Rich DeVos. Back in 1959, the two young entrepreneurs conceived Amway in the shell of an abandoned gas station. Just the two of them with about $500 in cash. Today, they are two of the wealthiest men in America, each with a fortune estimated at between $200 million and $500 million. In 1981, Amway did business of about $1.5 billion, and it has more than 1 million distributors worldwide.
Interesting, because I'm pretty sure Amway now has pretty much the same amount of distributors, so they haven't really grown in number of distributors since 1983. And these two men, this was in 1983, and they started Amway when they were like 21 or 24 or something like that. And they were, I don't know about you, when I was 22, I had very little life experience. I was just trying to finish up school and figure out what I wanted to do with my life. These two men, like, their whole lives were Amway from the time where they were just starting to figure out who they are until here when they're in like their 50s until like the 2000s, and when they unfortunately did pass away. Their whole life was Amway, and then the whole lives of their children and then their children's children is also Amway as well. And I just wonder, like, if Doug DeVos was like, hey, Dad, I don't want to be a part of Amway anymore, I wonder what would have happened to that relationship between father and son. I tried really hard to find some video speeches with Jay. I looked around YouTube, and I'm not sure if he was not the very public founder. If there's so many men in Amway, like big names, so sorry if I like misspeak. I wonder if Rich here was the one that like was more in the public eye, and Jay just kind of like went along and did what Rich said to do. I don't really know, but I have not seen Jay talk that much in public. Yeah, I'm getting paid to listen to this as I work. Cannot imagine doing work for a company for free on the regular, right? My goodness, sorry. It's cold in this office. Yeah, I totally agree. And my employee morale would go down real quick, and I would last like 2 days. I think it's normal to do a little bit of overtime here and there. Of course, you might need to work late a little bit here and there. That's fine. That's normal. But to constantly not have a division between your personal life and your work life, and to be doing this much free labor to just help these two men and their families grow massive wealth and purchase an island. And Mark just said they have 10 yachts, Amway. Do they really? I don't know if you're joking, but if they do, that's crazy. The fact that they had a yacht in 1983 is completely outrageous. They had an island in 1983. That's also outrageous. This whole thing is just outrageous. And their massive wealth at this time was built off the backs of people underneath them losing money and ruining their relationships with their families and their loved ones. What do you think? He'd probably be shunned, right? Dexter said himself, if you leave Amway, you're not welcomed back. And that's really sad because as parents who have the best intention of our children at heart, we should want what our children want. We should want them to be happy and healthy and feel fulfilled with what they're doing. And if Doug happens to not want to be part of Amway, his father should support him and it should not be a requirement. I'm just talking in hypotheticals now. Lilacs Llama says doing work for free is volunteering. Imagine volunteering for Amway, right? Right? Yeah. I'm going to volunteer for like an actual good cause in my community, like a food bank or something, or like with kids. I'm not going to volunteer for a pyramid scheme. No, thank you. Not joking. Oh, so do they have 10 yachts right now, Mark? Or do you mean like at this time? Either way, that's outrageous. Who needs 10 yachts? Oh, I had a lot to say, apparently.
Told us just how easy it is for a person to get started in Amway.
This business opportunity does not cost a fortune to get into. You don't have to spend $50,000 or $100,000. You buy a little sales kit, $25, $50 worth of products, whatever. They're returnable. If you decide to quit, you can return it back to your sponsor or the company will make good on it. So, the risk is very low.
Amway is that one unique organization that makes it possible for the man who's only got $50 to start in a new career path, not abandon his present job, and make a new beginning.
So Mark said right now. So right now, Amway has 10 yachts for some weird reason. Who the crap needs 10 yachts, guys? Come on. So Jay was just telling us how at that time it was super low risk to join Amway because it's only like $50 to get some products and you can return it anyways. And there's no risk. Who cares? I was not alive in 1983, but I feel like if you were living in low income, $50 is probably a lot. For a lot of people right now, even $50 is a lot. Lots of people have money in their bank account, but that could be set aside for specific expenses. And if someone has to take out $50 in 1983 to join Amway, that might mean $50 less dollars to go towards their food budget or their mortgage budget. And just because $50 isn't a lot for Jay, because even at this time he was a multimillionaire, of course he's going to say it's low risk. And the risk of joining an MLM is not just financial risk, it's also the risk of ruining your friendships with your family and friends and not spending time with your children or your spouse or your significant other, neglecting the hobbies that make you feel happy, not having any time to just like relax and like decompress after a stressful day. There is significant risk to your financial health, your mental well-being, your physical well-being, your spiritual well-being, all from being in an MLM. I took toys to the food bank for Christmas. Yeah, there's lots of stuff we can do to like volunteer and do nice things for people. And it's great that you took stuff to the food bank because, like I just said, $50 is a lot for a lot of people, and a lot of people are struggling right now. I'm going off on tangents.
This man made a new beginning. Dexter Yeager is just one of Amway's distributors. He began as a beer salesman. Today, in Amway, he has achieved the status of Crown Direct Distributor, which is about as high as you can get in Amway. And these 10,000 distributors at this rally in Charlotte, North Carolina, are the Yeager recruits. It is from a percentage of their business that Dexter Yeager makes his living. What kind of living? This is Yeager Estates, his 300-acre home, his business headquarters and family compound. These are Dexter's 5 Rolls Royces, his Cadillacs, his $350,000 motor coach, his stash of antique cars, his horse farm, his tennis court. Dexter is a multimillionaire, and all of it comes from Amway. To Dexter, Amway is pure free enterprise.
And we've got to keep the free enterprise system alive because that's what made America great. It's the people, and Amway's the people. America's just land and dirt and rivers and trees, but it's the people that makes America better and greater than all the other nations in the world. And that's the same thing with Amway. It's the people.
His wife, Bertie,
Okay, so we saw that Dexter Yeager is at this point in 1983 extremely wealthy because of Amway, massive house, beautiful cars, horses, all that good stuff. And we're going to hear later about how Amway was really good at this time at portraying a specific image of the ideal life where Dexter Yeager was idolized and seen as a god. And so his lifestyle was seen as the ideal lifestyle, one of extreme excess and, in my opinion, greed. No one needs 5 specialty antique cars. No one needs like a whole ass tennis court and a horse barn. Do you know what I mean? And that's portrayed as the ideal life instead of just like having a home that you and your family feel comfortable in and having money to take your kids on a vacation once a year and putting them in any activity they want and buying them nice clothes when they need it. You know what I mean? Like a life of excess and extreme wealth is idolized instead of a life where you're happy and relaxed and comfortable and content with your loved ones. Okay, selling overpriced tickets is how people like Dexter became rich. Their wealth has nothing to do with selling Amway products. Totally. Lies, all of it comes from selling tapes, books, and tickets to functions. Only a fraction of Dexter's wealth came from Amway. Yeah, totally. I learned that in my several Amway streams when the viewers let me know how people like Dexter Yeager actually made his wealth. And I wonder now, anyone who has been in Amway semi recently, do you know if high up distributors still host their own conferences, like the one we just saw with 10,000 people in Dexter's downline? Is that still a thing now when people at the top might invite thousands of people in their downline and they have their own like team conferences? If so, let us know. Tell us about your experience at those kinds of Amway conferences. Dexter is the biggest fraud that the USA has ever produced. He made most of his money selling motivational tools. Yep, totally.
Idolizes him. I read back to her something that she had said about her husband. He's the greatest person I've ever known. When I look at him, you said, I see Jesus. I want you to listen to him. I know that you'll see Jesus too. You really feel that way about your fellow? Mm-hmm. When you see him, you see...
I see what Jesus stood for and what he believed in. His giving and loving spirit.
But Bertie isn't the only one to idol.
Okay. I kind of disagree with Mike Wallace there. He's making it seem like something that it's not. She did not say that she thinks Dexter is Jesus. When she looks at her husband, she sees the values that she thought that Jesus should be portraying. And so, like, she's not saying that Dexter's Jesus. And I think he might be kind of twisting her words a little bit here. And I think it's a good thing to think that your spouse is the greatest person ever. But you also need to be like critical of your spouse when that needs to happen. And if you're seeing your spouse doing something that might not be super ethical and moral, you should call your spouse out on that and you should hold your spouse accountable. However, just because you hold your spouse accountable and you question them being in an MLM does not mean you don't think they're the greatest person in the world. It just means that you want what's best for them and you want them to be the best person they can be. Now you pay a fee for online training tools. Oh yeah, so in the last stream I did, we looked at one of the online Amway training companies. I think it was Worldwide Group. We just went through the website. It was a really, really interesting site. You can go check that stream out if you want. IBOs are not allowed to post on YouTube. Yeah, we learned that. Isn't that weird? And that's why like Amway isn't really covered a lot when you if in like the big anti-MLM channels, you know? Sure do. That's where the money is. Totally, Mark. Yes, I did know that Amway got that video banned, or that movie. All right, lots of comments. This is fun.
Lies Dexter. Amway distributors come from hundreds of miles around to gawk at his home and at his Rolls Royces. They treat him almost like a god.
I'm not a god. I'm not somebody to worship. There's a big difference between worshiping and loving. Some people are going to love me because they want to do what I'm doing. I'm not one of a kind. Anybody can do what I'm doing. They just got to want to.
But can anybody? Nancy and Bayless Johnson of Conway, South Carolina, were Amway distributors for 8 months when they finally quit. They say not only didn't they make money, they ended up losing for all of their efforts.
And when you go to these rallies, you have to pay to get in them. You have to pay your expenses to get there. You have to get off of your regular work to get there. And that's a lot of money going out just for some motivation to come back in.
Beyond that,
So Dexter told us that anyone can do what he's doing. They just need to want it, right? So of course, we hear that from people at the tops of all MLM companies. You just need to want it. You can be where I am. There's room for everyone at the top. I think in the video I called like Dexter wins all the money, he got this like high level recognition award for getting 60 FAA points. That took him like 40 years to get. And he's like, you could be here too. You could be here too. Sure, Dexter, maybe if we stay in Amway for 40 years, maybe we could get to the top just like you. And they just try to make it seem so attainable, like I said, while also holding these people to like a godlike status, to a status that is superior to us. And we just need to emulate these people in order to fulfill our dreams and find the level of financial success that we want. Amway are desperate for people like you, Heather, to not have access to the new Amway motivational materials. Oh yeah, I'd love to have access to those, and we can talk about it on stream. I would love that. Maybe not though, because I wouldn't want Amway like trying to sue me. It'd be really good like educational opportunity, but I wouldn't want my little channel to like cause me stress in my life. So while it would make a good video, maybe I wouldn't want to make that video, if that makes sense. And my IBOs are warned that posting the material will have them terminated from Amway. Oof. I wonder why. Like, wouldn't that be a red flag if you're told you can't share what you're learning through your work? You think that would be a red flag, right? It's only 40 years. What's the problem? Yeah, it's only 40 years. Just stay in for 40 years like Dexter, and then you'll be a multimillionaire, right?
and people who want to make it in Amway are told to buy the books and tapes and other motivating tools that will teach them how to do it. The market in these items runs into millions of dollars a year, and that cash goes not to the Amway Corporation, but to the high-level distributors who run these rallies, paid for by the hopeful Amway novices who come to those rallies by the thousands.
And then when you get back home and you knock on the door, it's slammed in your face time you say Amway, because people are sick of hearing it.
Why then, I ask, why do so many people go to work with Amway?
And there are plenty of weak people that you can convince them that they can do most anything while you've got them under your spell.
I get people so motivated and so enthused at this rally. Those people only hear what they want to hear. These people hear you can make $1 million. Not if you work 23 hours a day, 367 days a year. They heard they could make $1 million. Period.
I would like to make
I love that point, and that rings true. Just because someone at the top of the company was able to make $1 million doesn't mean that your average person at the bottom will be able to make $1 million. And MLMs, let's say Beachbody will take the case of like Christine Dwyer or Lindsay Matway and hold those women up as the standard of a good Beachbody coach and say, look, she did it, so you can too. Just because the scam worked for Lindsay Matway doesn't mean it's going to work for your average person just coming in to Beachbody today. But these rallies, the whole purpose of them is to showcase the exception, showcase the very few people who were able to become very, very rich, to make it seem like a woman like this, she's about to say she wants to make $500,000 a year, make her feel like it's possible without thinking of the fact that Dexter Yeager at this point was in for like 20 years or something like that. And it's portrayed as like Dexter Yeager became rich because he became rich while working like 2 hours a day. It's like, no, he became rich through like recruiting a crap ton of people and selling the motivational tools. I'm in a rambly mood today. The media used to be scared of Amway because of what happened to the Welcome to Life filmmakers. Oh yeah. And they got sued. Oh, that's terrible. Bait and switch people, right? And I feel like that comment, Mark, is like so common with like all the videos I put on my channel. It's always bait and switch. Come in, barely work, become a millionaire, you'll be great. You come in, you work the amount of time they say you need to work to become a millionaire, and you say, hey, I'm not making any money. What's going on? And then the narrative switches and they say, how come you're so lazy? How come you think you can become a millionaire only working a little bit of time every day or every week? It's like, well, you told me I could. That's how you recruited me into this business. I feel like every MLM video has some element of bait and switch.
500,000 a year. We're excited. We're going straight to the top. People want something better in life than what they've got.
I want to be a pilot. I want to travel. I want to have more vacation than my company gives me in 10 years. And so you think Amway can do that? Absolutely. But is it that easy? The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, asked that question when it investigated Amway on charges that it was an illegal pyramid operation. And while the FTC had come to the conclusion that Amway is not a pyramid because the money in Amway comes from selling real products, the FTC did say that Amway misrepresented the kind of money that could be made by the average distributor. But the FTC isn't the only skeptic about Amway. Listen to it.
I used to wonder why people in MLMs who were tried to combat the pyramid scheme objection when I would say, look, we have product, so we can't be a pyramid scheme. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily the definition of a pyramid scheme if you Google it. And then while learning more about Amway and about this case, like the FTC said Amway is not a pyramid scheme because of the product, perhaps like that ruling has like been like passed down and passed across different MLM companies, and distributors use that as like the main argument against the pyramid scheme objection. And it took me a while to realize it, but I finally figured it out. Another Amway bait and switch is when you join, they tell you that you will save money on your shopping bill because you'll be buying at a wholesale price. And then you figure out the products are more, right? And they want you to, companies like this would want you to replace all of your household goods with the MLM product, but we can buy like $7 shampoo at like Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart, and then shampoo in an MLM is like $50. And so you're not saving money because like shampoo does not need to be $50, you know? Lilac Llama says Amway is straight up cult-like. Yes, you are totally right.
Assistant Attorney General from the state of Wisconsin.
We're charging them with deceptive business practices for the use of those hypotheticals because they so vary from what we feel is reality.
Bruce Craig investigated some examples used in Amway literature. Examples that said that an Amway distributor could make in excess of $1,200 a month. Money that some Amway distributors said could be earned with just a few hours a week. But after looking at the average incomes of the 20,000 distributors in Wisconsin, Craig came to the conclusion that such a claim was outlandish.
Surely somebody's making that kind of money. Yes, that's correct.
How many? Percentage-wise?
About 1%.
Amway did make the disclaimer that the example of $1,200 a month was only hypothetical, but that still doesn't convince Bruce Craig.
And of course, if someone is recruited into Amway at this time with the promise that you'll make $1,200 a month, and then they don't, even while following the directions of their upline, they're going to be told that it's because they didn't sacrifice enough, they didn't want the change hard enough, or they didn't want the change strongly enough, and that's why they're not making the money that they were promised by their upline. And Amway, in my opinion, I think knew what they were doing with this pretend hypothetical example. You see, oh, you can make $1,200 a month, it's amazing, and people are going to like latch on to that and start thinking about the kind of difference that $1,200 a month could make in their family's lives, and not realize that it's potentially maybe $1,200 a month minus all their products, minus monthly fees, minus Dexter's conferences, minus motivational materials, minus a crap ton of expenses. Oh my God, the money that my father spent on Amway energy drinks. Ooh, let's see. They cost $13.50 a liter. As a comparison, milk costs $1.30 a liter. Oof. And you can get lots of energy drinks that are like less unhealthy than a Monster energy drink too for a lot cheaper. Energy drinks are just expensive in general. My point is just you can find reasonably priced, semi less bad for you energy drinks for a lot cheaper elsewhere.
Figure of successful distributors was 1 out of 5 as opposed to 1 out of 100. We wouldn't be in court right now.
And Craig says Even the distributors who, on paper, earn an average of $14,000 a year in Wisconsin actually earn a lot less. How much do they actually make?
After business expenses, a net income of minus $918.
Wait a minute. The direct distributors who make a gross income on an average of over $14,000 wind up losing almost $1,000 after business expenses?
On average, yes.
We wanted to know what the found.
So in 1983, Amway distributors who made like $14,000 ended up losing almost $1,000, the average, after expenses. I don't have like income statements from this time in front of me, of course, but I can imagine in 1983, very few people were bringing in that much money before expenses as a distributor. And the fact that probably a tiny, tiny portion of people who are making that much were still losing money. And of course, they just showcase the, say, like $14,000 that someone made, but they don't say the kinds of expenses that goes into running your Amway business. It's very, very deceitful, and it's just a way to quickly draw in people who are financially vulnerable and who really, really need an additional stream of income and tricking them. We're tricking them. We're lying to them. Why do they have a statue of themselves? That's culty too. Why is a founder of a company, why is there a statue? That's weird, right? I feel like that's weird. It's amazing to me that even in the 80s, we knew that only the top 1% made decent money. Yet here we are in 2022 and people still get sucked in every day. That's a great, great point. Fantastic point. Why is Amway still legal? The answer is that they donate millions to every political party. Again, yeah, great point. They're very powerful. They're a very, very powerful company run by two extremely powerful families. Yep.
Of Amway had to say about the odds of making it in Amway. And when we asked Rich DeVos how much money Amway distributors...
He looks so young here, eh? From the other videos we've seen where he might be like in his 70s, he looks super young.
Make on the average, we were surprised to find out that Amway doesn't keep those kinds of records.
I don't know what they make. They don't tell me what they make. Some of them will make nothing, and they will have done nothing. Some of them will make $100, and they'll have done maybe $100 worth, and some of them will make $1,000, and some of them will begin to make $1,000 a month.
Can you make $1,200 a month on 6 to 8 hours a week?
Not that I know of.
But if the founders of Amway are painting a realistic picture of just how much work it takes, at least some of Amway's distributors in the field say something quite different. Bill and Julie Greenwood had 120 distributors beneath them in Amway. And Julie Greenwood says that she and Bill routinely painted a pie-in-the-sky picture of how easy it was to make it to the top, and that their sponsors counseled them to keep that story going.
It was an outright lie because we weren't doing it ourselves. And Bill said, what I want to do is in my meeting, I want to tell the people just how much time it takes. I want to tell them just how much money it takes to build a successful business. And they said, well, Bill, you can no longer work with your group if you're going to tell them those things. They'll say, but they're the truth. And they said, but people don't need to know those things.
If you told a person...
So that still rings true now. People who will join Beachbody and they're not even an Emerald coach yet, they'll be told to say, I am building a 6-figure business. My upline has a 7-figure business. She retired her spouse. She did this, she did that. Or say your spouse is in a really high paying job and you don't really need to work anyways. And so you're not working and you're not working outside of the home and you only are working as a Diamond Beachbody coach. You could misrepresent that and make it seem like your Diamond Beachbody income is enough to sustain your household, while in reality, your spouse is making up their income is making up 95% of the expenses, but you're representing it as like my Beachbody income is helping us cover our expenses. Do you know what I mean? I'm not making sense. Or they're also told to tell the story of your upline. Tell the story of your upline's extreme success if you have yet to find success yourself, and reel people in that way. I'm not verbalizing my thoughts very well. Sorry. Okay, my father is a taxi driver who prospects every single passenger who gets into his taxi. He has done this for 22 years. He is still not earning any money for money. He's not earning any money, nor has he helped anyone make money. That's very sad. I'm really sorry to hear that. Amway is proof of just how powerful political donations are. Yeah, great point.
So when they got in the Amway business, that they were going to have to sponsor into their group somewhere between 300 and 800 distributors before they were going to be able to go full time. Do you think very many would get in?
Why are all of these people so excited when they go to these rallies down in Charlotte, North Carolina?
When you show them these luxuries, these homes and these motorhomes and these cars and these planes, and tell me that you wouldn't want it too.
We're going to make a special trip to New York to buy custom-made jewelry. Something for each one of our fingers. We're excited about that.
Everybody has dreams.
So the husband a minute ago was saying that if you told someone they needed 300 to 800 people in their downline to go full-time with Amway, would anyone join? Let's think of it in the modern day context. If you told someone that they needed 500 people in their downline in Beachbody to go full-time, would they join? Probably not. If you painted an actual, true, accurate picture of your normal average person entering an MLM and actually finding financial success, would people join? If you said, I work constantly, I never see my kids, I never hang out with my spouse, I'm constantly on my phone working, people would probably not join. I've said this before, I don't condone lying or being deceitful, but I do see how people are coerced or encouraged into misrepresenting the truth, misrepresenting the reality of life in an MLM. No, Heather, you're doing a great job. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Businesses do not donate money to corporations unless they're going to get something out of it. Yeah, that's a good point.
Everybody has dreams, and see, that's what they build it on. They get you dreaming. They get you wanting these things.
We also dreamed of owning a couple of Cadillacs. We just got through buying our first one. We're going to buy another one here in another 2 or 3 months.
They get us all psyched up and ready to go, and we go back and we lose money for another month.
She was distressed, and she should have been. She just didn't make it.
But what about all the others?
That was a powerful quote. I'm probably going to butcher it. They get you all excited and ready to go, and then you go home and you lose money for another month. You see people like that man in that fancy suit say, oh, we're going to go buy 10 pieces of jewelry for our fingers for no reason. We're going to buy a second luxury car for no reason. He's up on stage. He's getting praised. He has the attention of tens of thousands of people on him. Like what she said, of course, people are going to see that and they're going to want that positive reinforcement too. And instead of just reinforcing a happy, content lifestyle, you're reinforcing one of excess and luxury, you know? Oh, it's crazy. Sorry, I meant to say that businesses do not donate money to political parties. Gotcha. Makes sense. I totally agree.
Who say that the system doesn't work, that they failed with Amway.
They have not failed. They have chosen not to work this business as they were told to do. And whenever we interview them and nail them right down and ask them how many nights they really gave up, how many meetings they really went to, you will find that those who complain haven't really paid the price to achieve an Amway.
We continue to be excited and listen to tapes and buy tapes and go to functions. And we're now $8,000 poor.
We heard it over and over and over again. They tried and tried and tried, and they just said, you can't do it on 6 to 8 hours a week. You got to spend your life doing it if you're going to make it.
So we just saw an example of gaslighting circa 1983. He's telling Rich that people say that like people are trying their best and they just can't find financial success in Amway. And he's saying, well, of course they didn't find financial success because they didn't sacrifice to the level they needed to sacrifice in order to make a good amount of money, instead of acknowledging that they made a pyramid scheme. They made a scheme where they know the majority of people underneath them don't make any money. And it's just so invalidating to, I wouldn't even know how to guess, hundreds of thousands, millions of people who came into Amway or any MLM for that matter and tried their best, did what their upline told them to do every single night and still lost money. right? Not even lost money, but lost time with their children and their spouse and their significant other and their friends. And it's so demeaning and it's so disrespectful. I wonder where your modern day MLM distributors got this from. Of course, they probably didn't watch this video, but I feel like we hear a lot of the common day narratives that are used today in these Amway videos, right? Heather, are you aware of Robert Kiyosaki's role in promoting Amway in the MLM industry? I'm not aware of that, but I have seen him in a few of Amway videos. He also said, my father has worked. He's been prospecting thousands of people, spent tens of thousands on motivation and materials, and he has nothing, right? And I'm sure the experience of your father is not unique. People enter these companies because they need a change. They want to make money. They need something to change. And it's so demeaning and disrespectful for people like Rich at this point, and any MLM distributor say that it's our fault, to blame the victim and to just invalidate their very real and valid experience. I hate that kind of behavior. I think it's so manipulative. In my mind, everyone's feelings are very valid and important. And if someone says, I tried my best and it didn't work, it means it's true. It means that they're telling the truth.
We have never said you could get rich working 6 or 8 hours a week. Amway talks in terms of modest incomes based on modest amounts of time and effort.
But again, we told the boss that at least some of Amway's distributors paid a totally different picture. And we played a tape recording of one Amway distributor talking to other Amway distributors and to some others thinking of joining Amway.
So what we're talking about is you make it $1,200 on your basic business. 400 times 6 is 24. That'd be $3,600 in a month. Let's put that times 12 months to it. A year, that's $43,200. We'll pay you a profit sharing bonus of at least $7,000 in a year. So what we're talking about is you part-time making $50,000 a year. It's over and above your job.
That's an Amway meeting.
Ew, did you see their nasty smirks? They're just sitting there smiling. And I think this distributor was talking about a lot of math, talking really fast. So your average person is not going to be able to actually follow his line of thinking and isn't going to know whether or not he's telling the truth. They might just hear the $1,200 a month and think, oh, that's amazing, I can do that too, without actually understanding where that person got their money from.
He's talking about $50,000 a year within the first 2 years.
Sorry, $50,000. This was a different example of the $1,200 a month. Yeah, I think. I'm getting confused.
And that's just part-time, mind you.
It's pretty good.
Reaction from the top 2 men in the company to that kind of pitch.
He is painting you a really good picture. And
He sure
it's a far cut from what we would hope they would be saying.
Amway does publish a strict code of ethics that says just how distributors should behave in the field. But because Amway's 1 million distributors act as independent businessmen, Amway is powerless to control them.
They are not our employees, and we can't tell them or enforce things beyond a certain degree.
So while they admit problems, they stand by the principles on which Amway was founded. And to the
Now, in current times, MLM CEOs are constantly separating themselves from the bad behavior of their distributors by saying what Jay just said there, that they're not our employees. We don't have any control over them, so as to protect the company from legal hardship, legal activity, and to just protect them and protect their wealth. You know what I mean? I'm not verbalizing myself well at all, but we hear crap like this constantly, and we hear Ray Higdon and Eric Worre sit there and say, how dare MLM distributors act so poorly? And the CEOs, it's not their fault. They do their best. It's all your fault. You're acting badly as a network marketer, when it is a systemic issue. People like these 2 men, people like Ray or Carl Deichler, they enable the horrible behavior to keep going through just being quiet, through trying to separate themselves from their independent contractors. Drives me crazy. I missed a lot of comments about Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki in his original work never talked about MLMs. Then he went into Amway's book list and he started saying that MLMs was the best business there was. Gotcha. Code of ethics, right? Yeah. Hall, isn't that crazy? I totally agree. That is correct. Kiyosaki went on to Oprah and promoted Amway. Oof. On to Oprah. That's terrible. My computer is freezing. Sorry about that. The episode of 60 Minutes would have been viewed by millions of people. Wealthy backers aside, why did people continue to sign up after this? That could be a whole other video on its own. People are sold the dream. People think that they can have the wealth that Dexter Yeager has. Their vulnerabilities were preyed on. Like the woman said before, you can trick people into doing what you want them to do while they're like feeling weak. They go to these events and they're around really rich, famous people in the Amway business and they think they can be just like them. That could be a whole video on its own. And there's probably not like any actual research on why people continued to join Amway, but that's a really interesting question and I don't really know how to answer, right? Please show the footage of Oprah promoting MLMs. Maybe. I'm not going to do it tonight because I just want to get through the last like 2 minutes of this, but maybe in a different video. If your computer's freezing, turn up the heat. It's funny. We're almost done.
Those who remain skeptical?
We don't mind those critics out there, but let's don't get carried away that they speak for all the people in America who said, I'd like to make an extra $100 a month. I'm falling behind $100 a month. Maybe I won't make $10,000, but maybe I'll get into a new frame of mind. I'll get in with some new people, and just maybe I'll be able to make my car payment because I'm not making it now. We got, at this point in time, they say 10 or 11 million people unemployed. Most of them are sitting around saying, isn't it terrible? Well, wouldn't it be marvelous if they went out and made $50? They might discover some self-worth if they got involved with an Amway organization. And if you've ever listened to our presentation and done it as the Amway Corporation tells you, you will know the work will be hard, the disappointments will be many, but if you're willing to pay the price, there's a chance for you to improve your lot.
No chance.
So there's a lot to say there. He's saying, like, if you're unemployed, you may come in and be able to cover your car. You may make an extra little bit of money here and there. And we hear that narrative pushed nowadays where people say, well, not everyone wants to work full time. Not everyone wants to be a business builder. Some people just want to make some extra shopping money or be able to like sign their kids up for soccer. So that's why our income disclosure statement looks the way that it does, because not everyone wants to get rich, right? It's not that thousands and thousands of people go into every MLM with the goal of making their family's financial future a little bit stronger and a little bit more secure. And they do their best, they do what their upline tells them to do, and they still don't make any money. It's not that. It's that they went in with the intention of only making a little bit of extra pocket money. And look at his little smug face. They're so smug because they're scamming thousands and thousands of people.
A chance. And that's all we've ever presented people.
I believe you are eagles. I believe you can fly. I believe.
I'm an eagle. Did you know that? Are you an eagle too? Can you fly? And everyone's just eating it up. Everyone's like freaking out and cheering. It's so weird.
That in America, you can become anything you want to become.
Since we filmed it,
I am someone, I tend to like take on the emotions of people around me. Like if someone around me is crying, I will tend to cry. If someone's mad, I feel that emotion too, right? And so me being in an environment like that with someone screaming in my face like that, I would get excited, even though I'm a fully developed adult, right? I have a fully developed brain. That kind of event with that kind of emotion would probably pull me in. Just my opinion. Thank you so much for talking about Amway. None of the other anti-MLMers talk about Amway. You are right, because they don't really post on social media, and finding the content to react to and to talk about is pretty hard.
this report, Amway has been caught up in yet another controversy. This time, its founders, Jay Van Andel and Rich DeVos, face criminal charges brought by the Canadian government, which accuses Amway of defrauding Canada of more than $28 million in import duties. Amway's reply, says Rich DeVos, we don't think they have a case. In no way whatsoever are we crooked.
In no way whatsoever are they crooked. That's pretty funny. Yeah. So that's all I have for today. I'm really, really happy that this actually worked. And I had a backup video planned in my head, but I really didn't want to do it. I wanted to do this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing video about Amway from 1983. It's always really fun for me to try to find older Amway content. I just find it more interesting than listening to like Doug DeVos talk about it. I'd rather hear his dad talk about it. So I hope you enjoyed it. And I really appreciate all these people who commented and who watched live. It was fun to have so many chats in the comments. Oh, you're welcome, Rich. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go live again on Friday at the same time. And so if you're free, it'd be really fun for you to join me live. But if not, that's totally okay. Liv Panic said, love this. Oh, thank you, Liv Panic. That's awesome. Thank you for joining. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.